Welcome, everybody, to a brand new podcast all about the most efficient way to clear your nose. Yes, it is cold and flu season, and not to mention that pesky COVID-19 is still lingering around. So, today we're going to talk about the best way to clear out your sinuses. Let's start first by talking about goblet cells and how sometimes they're booger heads. Literally, they're producing more mucus than you need. And now there's a buildup of it. What are we going to do? There's a lot of people who have no idea how to blow their nose. They were kind of taught in kindergarten, but those teachers weren't experts. They weren't certified blows knowers professionals, and they did not teach these kids correctly. And so they grow up their whole life not really knowing how to empty out their nostrils of that excess mucus. So I'm dedicating my life in this podcast. It's a personal crusade of mine to teach every human on this earth. By the time I die, they will know how to blow their nose efficiently and effectively. So let's get into technique. First of all, you grab some kind of, I prefer paper towels. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Oh, paper towels are rough. But you know what? Paper towels, your skin will eventually get tough enough to handle them. If you use, a facial tissue like a Kleenex, you got to double up to do this technique. And I'm teaching you my technique today. So let's just go with the paper towel. So you got the paper towel, right? And you get it over your nose. Now what you got to do is you got to actually block off one nostril so all of your exhalation pressure could be all funneling out one. And that excess pressure is one of the tricks. So then you just blow out one nostril with a lot of power. And then you switch over, you block the other nostril. And then you blow that out with power. And then you do both. But you don't just do both open. You slightly push in on each side of your nose to create additional pressure. And then one good blow. So it's really like 3 blows there. Each nostril. And
Aaron.
Hey. Did you have something to contribute?
Yeah.
What do you think of my technique?
I think kids, we're from Iowa. Kids around here, they learn how to do this. They call it the farmer blow, Aaron. It's
really?
just natural.
Okay.
It comes out of the womb. Everybody just knows how to do that around here.
See, I wasn't born around here, so are you telling me that maybe my podcast won't be needed in this area?
I'm thinking everybody knows how to do it, man. You just walk down, you go down the mall.
Okay.
They're doing it right down the middle of the mall, right there now.
Are they using my technique, or do they? Have
No, they just. There's no paper towel. There's no nothing. It's just a finger to the side of the nose and let her go.
Okay. And so, all right. Well, I guess I will consider the merits of other techniques. And all right. Well, maybe we should find a different podcast for this one.
Yeah.
We're only 3 minutes into this one. We could switch it.
You could do like an online training of this, or you could do an in-person training of this and really get the.
Okay. All right. Yes. Why don't we do that topic? See, I used to have a podcast. It was about safety.
Really?
Yeah. And
how'd that work out for you?
It was pretty good. We got up to like 53 episodes. Technically, if we go back, it'll be 54 today.
Really?
So let's do that, and let's do that online training versus in-person training topic.
Hey, that's cool. We can do that.
All right, fine. I used to have an intro. Can you help me with it?
I think I kind of know how it goes a little bit.
So I'm going to do a pause, and then that's like our cue to get on point together. Ready?
All
right. Welcome, everybody, to the real podcast called the
Evil Safety Dudes.
Wow,
I don't know if that was as good as AJ,
good.
But I did my best.
It was like it maxed out. I'm like red over here. That was good. That was a good voice and everything. So if you're wondering who this new voice is in the podcast for, let me introduce this man in front of me. Mr. Jamie is the EHS coordinator for Maintainer, and as many people in my life that have botched my last name, it's Iacino, but in this part of the world, I'm
it's whatever, right?
I'm Ignacio. They look at it and they put G's in there and or they put an L, but I don't want to do that to you. So can you pronounce your last name?
Elgersma.
That's not hard.
That's not hard.
Elgersma. Did I say it right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's Dutch, German. Something like that.
Nice. And so you're EHS, and all of our listening audience knows what EHS means.
Yes.
So are they really hitting you with the triple trifecta, the environmental too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
All
you're
the
like
above.
legit EHS.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've actually never been at EHS. Like, I've always been safety and health. Like, I got lucky, I guess, that
Um,
the bosses never threw environmental at me.
it's a lot, but
Yeah.
it's all right.
Like stormwater stuff, or what
Yeah.
are you playing with?
Stormwater, air permits, all that good stuff.
Oh, wow, cool. So tell me about Maintainer. Where's it at, first of all?
It is in Sheldon, Iowa. We do service bodies, cranes, all that stuff, utility trucks. So do the bodies, put the bodies on the chassis. We
Okay.
do a lot with like railroad, BNSF,
Oh, nice. Cool.
CN, all that good stuff. So
That's cool. So all them cool contractor trucks
Yep.
with that really wicked custom
Yeah.
back end with
A lot
all
of
the
custom
toolboxes
stuff.
built in and
Yeah.
all. That's you guys, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really cool what goes
So
in there.
you make like insane toolboxes for trucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
It's amazing. You see them trucks, you don't even know what they all have in them. It's really cool.
So if I had like $1 billion and I'm like,
Now you
don't-
don't need $1 billion.
I don't want this dumb stock bed on my truck. I want a crane, and I
Yeah.
want a toolbox, and I want gun cases, and I want my TAC med kit, and it's all got to be weatherproof. Like, could like anybody just do it, or you have to be like companies got to order like 100?
We can custom anything. We can
That's
do
pretty
whatever,
cool.
man.
Is it all? Is it all like designs I pick from, or can I literally?
You can custom.
Wow,
I mean, we got
that's pretty
ideas
cool.
for you for some, but we got standard trucks. We got custom trucks we can do.
That's pretty awesome.
We can build it however you want.
I get to play with a lot of those trucks.
Yeah.
Because dealing with contractors a lot, they all got them. They're
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's amazing the technology that's in that stuff with the cranes and
Right.
the lighting and all the
Yeah,
different
yeah, the
equipment
lights
you
have
can get
been-
in there.
Light bars, and
Yeah.
I've seen so many cool things. Oh, and the steps now, and
Yep.
the handles and all
Yeah.
that, making it safe. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're making sure the folks assembling those are safe
Yep. So,
cool.
yep.
and installing, I guess, right? You
Yep.
probably have
So
seven.
we got fab, we got weld, we got paint, install, all that good stuff.
Nice. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And so you've been doing safety for a minute, huh? A couple years.
Few years, yep. About going on 7 years. I've been in manufacturing for pretty much since out of high school. Just about
That's
did a
cool.
little brief construction deal there, but did that for a few years. But otherwise, been in manufacturing the whole time.
Iowa, I just saw something on LinkedIn that our chamber shared yesterday that Iowa was like number 4 in the nation for manufacturing
Yep.
jobs.
Yeah, I was up there. Yep.
That's pretty awesome. In manufacturing, especially in Iowa, I think it's pretty cool because you don't have to work outside in the winter.
That's probably why the brief construction thing was in there, maybe. But no, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of opportunity for people to get in manufacturing. I mean, there's a lot more to manufacturing than what people think. So it's a cool thing to do.
I did construction for a few years as a safety guy. Did a couple of them Iowa winters outdoors.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's doable,
Yeah.
but it is not fun.
Yeah, you get a couple days out of the year where you're like, this is a great job. And then the next day it's blowing 50, 60
Yeah.
miles an hour and you're trying to put rafters up or something.
Walking through mud. And,
Yep.
and one of my jobs I was on for at least a year was on the Minnesota border. It was way up in Superior, Esterville area.
Yep.
That was even worse. I was telling my boss in Sioux City, I'm like, it's colder up here. He's like, whatever. Like he did not believe me.
So you move south to Sioux City. It's a
Yeah,
lot warmer
I gotta
here.
come south. Boss, bring me back south, man. I can't handle this cold. He was like, Aaron, man up. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
It's at least 5 degrees difference.
No, but it is. And he didn't believe me. But like, if you listen to the public radio out of WIT out here,
Yeah.
they give you the weather for Okoboji and Sioux City.
Really?
Like, right back to back. They're like, right now it's 85 in Sioux City and 80 at the lakes. It's just like, and I'm like, yeah, see?
Well, it's just like the
See?
Great Lakes in Michigan, that wind comes across
Yeah.
there, that wind comes across that lake,
Yeah, we got some wind chill stuff. So, all right. Well, today's topic is on something that everybody in 2020 and 2021 should be familiar with. online training, and then we're going to talk about that versus it's going to be a battle to see who wins, who is the best form of training versus in-person training. Now, have you, through the pandemic or just sometimes people just do it anyway, have you been doing any online training?
Yeah. So I've worked at a couple different places, and each place, is a little bit different. One goes all in person, did all their training in person. Others have done online training. So there's definitely advantages both ways. But
For sure.
yeah, with COVID, everybody was like, man, you still have to do the training, right? It's still
Right.
required stuff. So you had to find somehow to do it. So a lot of people went to online stuff, to get by with it and still keep up with the regulations.
And I applaud those companies that did that. But not everybody did.
No.
Some people during COVID were just quit training.
Yeah.
You know how I know?
Because you're dealing with it now.
What? Besides because I was doing the training, then I wasn't. But yeah, when COVID let up, and then people felt comfortable training again, then it was like, oh yeah, Aaron, we got like 2 years of backups.
Right.
It's like what? Man, the backlog of training that I had.
Yeah.
We got through it though. Like we're done with backlog, but it was 6 months of just insane training to try to get all those plants back up to compliance that just quit during it. So had they had done what you guys did and just figured out a way to do it online.
You could do like small toolbox stuff, get small groups together and do different types of things. But yeah, sometimes you had to think really outside the box to try to figure out how to get it done.
For sure. I mean, when you're in manufacturing, you got head scratcher jobs you got to figure out how to do. So
still got to do the fundamentals, right?
Yeah. So now when we're talking about online training, there's a couple different forms. You got like log into this system that we pay for and watch these videos. That's online training. And then there's like Zoom, which is technically online training, but it's like live. It's like two parties.
Yep.
So
where you can actually converse back and forth.
Yeah, so like online training has taken a couple different meanings anymore. It used to just mean I'm logging on to some kind of computer-based training, and there's no live human on the other end. It's a pre-made thing that I'm just watching, and I may have to take a test.
Yeah.
What kind of online stuff have you been working with?
Well, right now, the online is you log in, and it's just you pay for this training, and that's what they're doing. So there's benefit to that. Obviously, it's very flexible.
100%.
You can do it anytime, anywhere, or whatever. You just need the connection, right? If you got multiple locations, it's really easy. If you got different job sites, whatever, they can just log in and get it done. So that's what's really nice about that. It's mobile. You can use your phone. You can use all kinds of different platforms for it. So yeah, it's, and the distance learning, you don't have to get groups together. You can do it when
it's COVID safe. It's COVID proof.
It's convenient. You can do it when you got time. So yeah, there's a lot of people went to that, I think, just to get through it.
Right.
Some considered that like the new normal.
Yeah, and a lot of people have decided to stay there.
Yeah.
And so there's pros and cons. So yeah, I like what you said about the benefits of it. When we have a client that wants us to design their new hire safety orientation and then turn around and perform it, we're like, we'll give it our best shot. It's really not in our purview. There's so much turnover. We can't be here once a week to do this 3-4 hour class for you.
And everybody's hiring, so there's a lot of new hire orientation going on.
It's on all the time. So we say we'll train someone here to perform new hire orientation because let's face it, orientation training is not top notch, in the weeds, in the details. You're gonna be proficient at anything.
Right.
It's just inoculation training.
Yeah,
it's like,
you want to get them familiar with.
Yeah, my slides are funny. I'm like, hey, this is a scissor lift. You're not allowed to operate it till you're certified.
Correct.
Hey, well then I might say a couple things like, watch out if you work underneath it. They could drop stuff on your head,
Right.
But, watch out when they come down. You can get smashed. But it's basically like, hey, look, see this picture? It's a forklift. Because some people, honestly,
Never seen one
don't
before.
know. And then I go, guess what? You're not allowed to operate it, And I get to confined spaces. This is how OSHA defines a confined space. And now that you know what one is, you're not allowed to go in them.
Right.
Until you're certified. That's like orientation training.
It's general awareness. This is what you need to do, yeah.
So online works for that. So I like to train an in-house person how to run that because we can't always be there. Sometimes people are hiring people more than once a week.
Yeah.
So, but when you have an online safety orientation, we're talking super convenient, right?
Yep.
You just set them down, log them in, and walk away. And,
There you go.
yeah.
So it's easy that way, but it's consistent. I mean, you get the same message every time.
Yeah.
I mean, how many trainings have you done there?
Oh, yeah.
You
forget if you said one thing. When I got to do back-to-back, sometimes a client will bring me in, I need you to do this class 8 times today. I'm going to funnel in different groups.
Yep.
By the 5th class, they probably think I have Alzheimer's.
Yep.
For real. Because I straight up ask them, did I just tell you this story? Because I just told 5 people, and I don't know if I said it already.
The first class takes 45 minutes. The 8th class is about 5 minutes flat.
Yep. I didn't believe that. I had a guy tell me that when I first started. He was talking about him doing OSHA 10s and OSHA 30s and how he got burnt out and how when he first started. And I was like, no, never, But that burnout is real.
Yeah.
On any job.
Yep.
But trainer burnout, things go quick.
Yeah. You keep moving.
I got 5 more to do after this. I'm not going to do my best on this one because I'm tired and, I got to go to the bathroom. So,
and a lot of it, you feed off your audience too. I mean, if you've got
yeah.
a good audience that participates in
For
it
sure.
and stuff, you're going to get, you get into it, discussions, things like that. So,
well, let's talk a little trash.
yes.
Is that all right with you?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I want to talk a little trash. I want to talk a little trash about online training. Before we do that, I just want to reiterate some of the high points. Super convenient. Like you just said, consistent message, consistent timing. If you're babysitting the orientation person, you'll always know how long that orientation is going to be.
Yep.
If it's a human, it could vary.
The other huge thing is bilingual.
Oh, yeah.
That would be huge.
Yeah, I had a job one time. They had a 16-hour, 2-day safety orientation. But it was kind of lame. It was like 32 videos. But the videos were cool because it had like 4 languages.
Mm-hmm.
So you had English. It was funny because it had English and American English.
What's it? Oh, yeah. The slang or what?
No, it was just like England versus American, and then it had Spanish and Portuguese and French.
It's funny you say that because I just watched one leadership one, and it was had to be from Europe or something.
Okay.
And I'm like, the content of this is really, really good, but I cannot. And it was a female that was doing it, and she had this accent. I was like, I cannot listen to this. The content was super great. I was like, but if I have to spend another 5 minutes, it was, yeah.
Sometimes I just, because I'm a dumb American, so they start talking about meters, and, you're probably good with all that, but I'm lost. They're like 3 meters and 30 meters, and I'm like, give me my phone, I was like, Google Translate, they're talking weird languages and words I don't get, But, yeah, that was nice because we had a lot of folks who didn't speak English at that job. So I could do that full 16-hour orientation in a language that they could understand by just selecting the Spanish section on those DVDs.
Cool.
Now, on your online training, I imagine it has that function too. You can switch it, English, Spanish.
Covers it.
Did you get any other cool languages or just those 2?
Just those 2 that I know of. They probably go on and find something, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, in Sioux City, we're heavy on the meatpacking industry, so sometimes we got over 5 languages in the plant, and it's really tough.
It's hard.
Yeah, Spanish don't do you any good.
Right.
I get calls, Aaron, do you got a French translator? And I'm like, no. We have a person from who's Congolese, and they speak French from the Congo in Africa. And I was like, do you have someone there who's bilingual that could translate for me? And, we work it out.
Right.
But it's tough.
Right.
But, yeah, when you could just hit a button and it translates.
Yep.
That's pretty good. All right, so we were going to talk some trash.
Yep, it's time.
All right, so I will say some trash talking about some negatives, some cons about online training, especially that in training that you didn't create, that's not custom, would be it may not be completely applicable to what you're doing. Have you found any of that?
Yes. There was one. It was a winter drive. How to drive in the winter, right? Because we got some drivers,
you
things
just
like
think
that.
that would be applicable, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, a guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, have you watched this video?" And I was like, I have, but what did I miss?
I might not have been paying attention.
He says, if I drove like that in the winter, obviously the person who made it isn't from Northwest Iowa or from...
Right.
But they were telling us, if there's tracks in the road, don't go in the tracks, make your own track. And it was like, if I drove like that, I would be in the ditch or...
Wow.
So, yeah, he was like... So I went back and I watched it, and I was like, yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Be funny. Winter driving. This video is made in Southern California. That's where I grew up, right?
Yeah.
So winter driving in Southern California is you're just driving in 60-degree weather instead of 120-degree weather, and there's no difference. So
right.
Yeah, when I left Southern California, moved to Denver, I was driving. I was about 17 years old, and it was a cloud burst. Like an intense sudden rainstorm. I had never driven in the rain even. That scared the mess out of me. I'd never driven in the rain.
Yeah.
And then my first snow driving, I almost died. I got this job as a kid over Christmas loading UPS trucks. That was intense. I learned a lot about safety. That was my first introduction to OSHA too. Back safety. But I was driving and I hit some black ice. It was overnight, so I was driving in the dark, and I had a 1970 Chevy panel truck with a straight six manual transmission.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. And but anyway, I started spinning, and so I started turning the wheel, and I didn't know about overcorrecting. So not only did I turn back straight, but then I did a complete 180, and I'm sliding, looking backwards at traffic coming at me on, I think it was I-70 in Denver.
Yeah, that's probably not good.
And then I didn't learn. So then I overcorrected the other way. So I'm sliding backwards. I do another 180 where I should have been right because I overcorrected. It ended up being a 360, and so I'm still staring backwards. I'm like, how do you do this? This is impossible. How does anyone survive? And then I finally kind of got it right. By that time, I slid off to the shoulder. Luckily, there was none of those bars. And
right.
Took a deep breath, checked if my pants were wet. They weren't. And then I just kept going on to work a lot slower, though.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, around here, we think everybody knows how to do it. And that guy did. But what if you were training me, a kid from Southern California, moves to Northwest Iowa, you show him that video, and he, takes notes.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, this is how you do it. This is the only time I've ever been taught how to do this. It's from the company. It's got to be legit information.
Yeah.
They wouldn't tell me anything not legit. Mm-hmm. And then I go out and I
mess something up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I wasn't thinking about that angle where the curriculum maybe not have been super solid, you know. But, that's not OSHA regs.
No.
So that's kind of like who made the video and what do they think are the best tactics. Yeah. But one of the issues that I found was just the not applicability. Like you get to the forklift one and say you're all manufacturing and you drive stand-ups or sit-downs, traditional things like that. And the video is all about all-terrain reach forklifts like Lulls, or vice versa.
It's not very site-specific or plant-specific.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. It's not site-specific. It's not customized. It's not how to be safe in that exact environment. It's super general and generic.
Yeah.
We call it boilerplate, cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it works.
sometimes it's a lot of excess information that doesn't pertain to what you
Yes.
really need to know.
Yeah, because it's got to be so generic to cover almost every
Cover
manufacturing
everything,
trade.
yeah.
So, you guys got robots?
Yes.
Okay.
We're getting into that realm, yep.
Yeah. So if it was all about robots and you had none, that like safety with robots, and guys like, where's the robots at, boss?
He'll be around the corner. He's bringing me
Yeah,
something to drink
yeah,
right now.
and then you're like, oh, we don't have any. Well, I just watched an hour video on working
Yeah.
safety with robots.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. So
Here's one. In the bloodborne pathogen standard, in the OSHA reg, the 1910 reg, the General Industry reg, which is an annual training requirement, it does say it's required to have a Q&A, question and answer session.
Yep.
And you're never going to get that online.
No, they do the little assessment stuff, but it's like, okay, they ask you a couple questions, but if you get it wrong, you just go back and pick another one until you get it right or something.
Right, and in the OSHA reg, it wasn't necessarily like the testing, like the teacher asked a question to the student. It was that somebody who knew the standard had to be available to answer a question that a student may have.
Yep.
And, when you're on a video, you just can't do that.
No, you don't get that interaction.
So, if I tell people, if you're going to do bloodborne pathogen training online to be legal, you got to at least go in that class after you stop the video or they log off and say, do you have any questions?
Yep.
And then you could say, yeah, we had a live Q&A by someone who knew the standard. But, you can get in trouble doing some of that, not really realizing it. The other issue is PPE.
Mm-hmm.
If I got a foamy earbud with a noise reduction rating of 32 or whatever, and the video's talking about a canal cap or something, a different form, and it's not the same limitations, it's not the same functions, it's not the same maintenance.
Right.
You're not really training them on the PPE you're giving them,
Right.
and that's an OSHA violation.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to be very careful with that. It's easy to assume that the training they're getting is going to be good. So the problem you have is you go through the training, say even hazard communication, like if you have a spill or something.
Yeah.
You're assuming that if there's a spill, they know the correct way to clean it up, if they can even clean it up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, you're making a lot of assumptions and hoping that it's good enough.
You're just checking a box. I've seen a million times, because a lot of times it's non-safety people who are setting up these things.
Yep.
So they're like, oh, we need PPE. Oh, they have a PPE class. Check the box.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys wear Class C hard hat bump caps. That's going to teach them about Class G hard hats. They're going to think they have a lot more impact protection, and they don't. They only have bump protection,
Yep.
So, all right, well, let's move on. Let's keep it on the online. Let's talk about Zoom. Have you got to do any Zoom, Skype, Microsoft Teams?
We have most of it just been meetings. I don't know if we did a lot of training that way, but you do a lot of like the leadership ones and different things. Maybe not something you give to the team, but as far as regulation Zooms and things like that,
I've been doing.
It gets old, doesn't it?
I've been doing 5-day, 40-hour Zoom classes.
That's too much.
It is, and
you change your background every day, so it looks like you're sitting in like a tropical setting that one day. And
I have mainly when it's a meeting and I just want to mess with everybody, But as a teacher, I haven't. But I've been on a student side of them too.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do a ton of continuing ed.
Yeah.
And so, I actually like as the student when it's on Zoom though, because I don't have to travel.
Yeah,
like
it's convenient
Omaha
that way.
Or Des Moines, to take this 5-day class in person. I'm paying 6 days of hotels. You got per diem and gas. When that training's done, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
But when it's on Zoom, I could actually do it at home.
Yep.
I don't. I still come in. I'll do it at my office, or I'll do it in the training center. But man, my feet are kicked up on the chair. I'm pigging out because you're muted.
Yep.
I'm taking phone calls. Now, all of my Zoom
I was going to say, you got to
teachers-
make sure your camera's off for that stuff.
No, they make you have cameras on, but I've learned how to work all of that.
Oh.
So
Just put your picture in front of the...
Well, no, one guy did that. It was slick. If you've been in a Zoom meeting, you get used to how everybody kind of looks in there.
Kinda
And a
sits.
guy took a screenshot and then made that as his photo when his camera's off, so it looks like he's in class
Yeah.
still.
Spends more time getting by. Everybody does that, right? Safety. There's a way to get around this somehow, right?
But I've learned how to work it too. So all my Zoom teachers, close your ears. The camera, it only catches so much. So, I figure out right on that edge, and if I got a call, I'm on mute, they can't hear me. So if my camera comes to here, I'll just so they're seeing this much of my face. So if the proctor, because some of these, there's proctors, there's the teacher, and then there's someone's only job is to make sure everybody's paying attention.
Yep.
And so I'm just sitting here, I'm taking a 5-10 minute call, and
Paying attention, that's a big one. You ever going back to the online, if they just log in or something, you ever catch somebody walk through there where all the training computers are at and like the foreheads on the desk and they're like,
well,
out
for
cold.
sure. In the hospital, worked 10 years in the hospital, and we had to do a lot of online training, and it was just a bunch of cheating.
Yeah.
What I'd walk by and I'd see 5 people. They're all hovering around the computer. So they're watching that first person go through it, and they're watching the test. And then when they go tat, 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 tat. They're just click, 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 click,
Yep,
click,
hurry
click,
and
click,
get
click,
through
click,
it.
click, 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 60 slides, click, 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 go to the test. Ba, 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 ba. They're out of there.
Yep.
Since then, they've made a lot of these timed. Have you seen that where you can advance
Yep.
until this progress stream goes by?
Yeah, and some of them will even give you how long it takes you to do you can see how long it took them to do that. So I was doing one, and I came back, and it was a simple one. It's only
Right.
supposed to take like 25 minutes or something. I get done, and I look at it, and I was like, that took me an hour and 25 minutes?
Wow.
But I got a call, so I left,
yeah, yeah,
and
you left it on.
So I
Yeah.
left it on,
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
out, come back, finish it later, and I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, that looks terrible. It took me 125. It's like I did fall asleep in this one or something.
Yeah, this is a problem with online stuff is, so when I'm teaching in person and I see someone fall asleep, I have tricks.
Yeah.
I walk by and I accidentally hit their chair with my foot.
Yeah.
I walk by, I accidentally hit their table, and no, they jump up.
Yep.
Or sometimes I'm just fed up and be like, hey, you got to be awake, dude. I mean, sometimes I just
Yeah.
call them out, but I don't try to do that at first. But I can't tell you how many times I've given the speech. Hey, man, if you're tired, stand up in the back of the room. It's okay.
Yeah.
Go take a break. Go throw some water on your face. Go grab a coffee.
Walk around your chair 3 times or
Yeah,
something like that.
But I could see that in person. There's so many ways to cheat online.
Mm-hmm.
The other issue is the attentiveness. So
Yeah. Are they really learning anything?
everybody's gonna get mad. Not everybody, but I think video and online is the lowest form of learning.
Yeah.
Because it's not super engaging. For instance, if you're doing a online or a Zoom training and you have 2 screens,
Yeah. You got one. You got it.
so here's the cheats. All my Zoom teachers, keep your ears covered. And but all you safety trainers, this is what people are doing. So the laptop, right? It's got the camera right on it, or say they got the external camera that they put on top. So if I have the class on my second monitor, okay? Say my monitor's over there.
Yep.
So my primary monitor, the one that the camera's on, I'm actually looking dead into it, but it's not the class. So I'm working, emailing,
Yep.
typing, correcting stuff, creating curriculum, scheduling. Oh, another email comes in. I'm going to town. They can't see my hands that I'm typing, but when they look at me, I'm dead locked into that class.
Man, this guy is into it.
Yeah, I'm into my emails.
Yeah.
And then when I actually want to look at the class, that's when it looks like I'm not paying attention. Because then that's when I go like this. That's when I turn to the side. And then the teacher's thinking, oh, Aaron's distracted at this moment.
Somebody's in his door asking him a question or something.
Yeah, but no, that was the only time I was actually paying attention.
That's how I listen to this podcast called This Safety Podcast or something. I usually have that on my separate monitor, and as I'm working, you know. I don't know, Evil Safety. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called.
Now it'll be your voice coming through there.
It's like, who's this guy?
I've had some good online teachers though. They just had a gift for it. So like, it's like the Brady Bunch intro Zoom training.
Yeah.
You got all these squares with all these faces, and they're somehow monitoring 15 students. And when one student eyes wander, they'll very casually and smoothly, not in a rebuking, correcting way, but like, hey, Aaron, what'd you think about what I just said? Did you think it should be 5, or do you think 6 would be better? You know, and then you're like, whoa, could you repeat the question?
Either one would be fine with me.
Nah, you know, I trust you, whatever you say, sir.
They should make like shock collars for that, so if they have that, you can just hit a button like screen number 6.
Yeah, there you go. We got the tech for that today. But, you know, it's just so many ways. Well, the phone, too.
Yeah.
So when I'm in class teaching in person and someone's down here on their phone, I already know it. I'm like, hey, put the phone away.
Yeah.
But online, you could set your phone out here. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm like holding my phone in front of my laptop, but just under the camera.
Yeah.
So again, it looks like I'm paying attention. When you look at me, I'm looking dead at you in the camera, but I'm really staring at my screen.
Yeah.
I've done that a few times.
Playing games or something on your phone.
Yeah. You know, going through all your socials.
Yeah.
All right, well,
snaps.
Let's talk about in person. You want to start with trash talking it or giving some pros to it?
Let's just do some pros for it.
All right, what do you think is cool about in person?
I'm a people person, so I like to be face to face. It's the interaction. You know, you can talk to the people and go at it and really, like I said, if you get a really good group of people,
right,
and that can make the training fun. I mean, if they're involved, 100%. If they're involved and they're participating, giving you some feedback and asking questions, and you can have discussions and stuff, that's awesome. You know, so you can't get that online. So that's the best part about in person.
What if you don't? What if you had what I call a stonewalling class? Have you come up with any ways to get them to interact?
Kind of. You just got stories. You know, you can add the stories, make it real. Yeah.
I talk trash. That's how I do it.
Call somebody out, start picking on somebody.
I do. Well, it's actually what do you call those threats you're not really going to do? I forget the term for it, but I threaten them actually, but it's not real.
Really?
Yeah. So this is my threat when they're not interacting. I just tell them. I said, hey, look, guys, if you don't start talking with me and interacting, I'm going to start insulting your NFL teams. And it's a joke. I'm not going to.
Right.
And then I go, and then if you still won't interact with me, I'll go there. I will start insulting your college football teams. And, you know, and it's a joke.
Yeah.
But it loosens people up. You know,
how do you know what their football team is?
They're all wearing it on their hats.
That's true.
And I can guess we're in Iowa.
Yeah, that's true.
You're gonna be Cyclones, Hawkeyes, or Huskers. You know, maybe up in your neck
Huskers
of the
have a
woods.
team. I didn't go there.
I had to work security one time at the Heroes Bowl.
Really?
Yeah. So my job was to protect the Hawkeyes from a fan that might hit him, because at Kennex Stadium, it's old, and people were nicer when they built it back in the day.
Yeah.
And so the bench where the players are, if you're front row, you could
You're
literally
like
hang
there.
over and smack them. So for security, they block off that first seat anymore.
Okay.
But you could still walk down, like it's just easy just to hop over and smoke one. So they have security there, and you can't watch a game. You just got to stare at this 1,000 people
crowd.
and just If anybody starts coming close, yeah, no. So that was fun.
Nice.
Nobody attacked him though. Yeah.
As long as they're winning, we're good.
They did win that game. They did win against Huskers. So, but all right. So I do like online better too, and one of my favorite things about it.
You like online better?
Or sorry,
In person. I had to clarify that. I was like, what?
Yeah, the guy who trains people for a living. I prefer to do it but if you just go online, just give me an office day. No, I prefer in person because my main thing is, I'm going to say this wrong, the customizability.
Yeah,
I don't know
site-specific
I don't know if
stuff,
that's
right?
a word.
Yeah.
Customizability. Customizableness.
It's your show.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
I was taught, as long as you say it with authority, no one will question you.
That's true. That's
So,
true.
I
You could be right. You could be way off.
I
but
like the
it sounds
customization,
good.
the customizability, and the customizilication of it. And those are real words. Trust me, I'm the evil safety dude.
Yeah. You can emphasize what matters. Drive it home.
So, like, say client says, want you to do some hand and power tool training. All right, cool. I got my boilerplate PowerPoint with cool videos in there of guys doing it all wrong and wrecking themselves. But when I get to this 5-slide section of powder actuated tools, I go, hey, you guys use these? No. Click, 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 click. I ain't wasting your time.
Right.
Hey, look, here's a corded Sawzall. You guys use that? Oh, yeah, every day. All right, I'm going to take my time. We're going to talk about this. All right, table saw. Nope. All right, moving on. Well, a lot of times I just ask them up front, what do you guys use? Because then I kind of know. I don't actually ask them every slide.
Right.
But, if they're like, oh, we use portabands, sometimes like, what's that? A portable band. So sometimes they don't even know what it means.
Right.
They just know the slang term. Portaband. All right, we're going to talk about portabands today. I could customize it right on the spot. And then, like you said, site-specific. So besides, like, the tool-specific, all right, now, what conditions are you using those in?
Right.
Let's talk about...
What do you use this for? How are you using it?
Yeah, let's talk about plugging that into temporary power instead of always going into the wall in the plant. You're a construction worker. You're in a temp panel. Let's talk about that now. Are you on a GFCI? I could get... They call it up in their Kool-Aid. I mean, I could get down and dirty into their real life because they're here. They know what they do. I'm asking. And they leave, and they felt like, wow, Aaron customized the course for me.
Wow, that guy's not an evil safety dude.
And
he's pretty cool.
I didn't ahead of time, but on the fly, I customized it for him. And there's no way online. I mean, I could do that on Zoom.
Right.
But there's no way like a online course could do that.
Right. No. And you're giving them the information that they need to hear.
Yeah. That's where
and that's what they're going to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. And then plus two, depending on how good I'm feeling on my entertaining skills that day, I can ensure they're staying with it, engaged.
Yep.
I'm looking right at them.
Yep.
Try to sleep on me. I already know all the tricks because I was a bad student.
I've been there, done that.
Really bad student.
Yep.
I liked college because they quit caring if you slept in class. I would straight up put my head down and sleep in class in college, and they wouldn't
just
care.
record it or whatever you got to do.
Sometimes. Sometimes I would just sleep.
Roommate takes all the notes for you.
Well, all up until the nursing program, I didn't have to study. I could actually, I just kind of breezed through all the general eds.
Oh, man.
But when I hit that nursing program, boy, I had to actually try, and that was tough.
Some people easy that way. Some people, everybody learns different. That's the thing with in-person stuff.
Yeah.
You can kind of, those that breeze through things, you don't have to spend a lot of time because they're going to get it. But you're going to see there's 2 or 3 people, that maybe are looking at you like, we need to talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah, but definitely you could. Well, besides if they just ask you, but if you're paying attention, you could see confusion on people's face if you're trying to.
Yeah.
Not like that you're looking for it, but you could see when someone looks at that puppy dog.
Just say, so you don't know, what part don't you understand?
Yeah,
what do you want to go back over?
Yeah. Yeah, or do you got a question? Yeah. But the other thing that you kind of just brought up, too, was the different learning styles, and I've been through so many instructor courses where they spend a lot of time. Some people are auditorial learners, so they learn by hearing.
Yep.
So if you're taking an online without some type of voiceover and it's all visual, those auditorial learners are not getting barely anything.
Right.
And then some people are visual. I've had complaints on my teaching when I don't use PowerPoints.
Oh, because you like to do more of the hands-on, or you just
I'm just lecturing,
Just go.
because I get burnt out and lazy sometimes. It's like I have seen that PowerPoint
so many times.
1,000,000 times. I know I could go through slide 1, slide 2 in my mind and tell you what it says, so I do that.
Right.
But some people, they want to see the slide because they're a visual
Even the
learner.
worst thing, if you got the PowerPoint up there and you've got all your bullet points on there, the worst is just to read them word for word.
Yeah, that's rookie.
I mean, you've got the information's there. They can read it themselves. It's up there.
Yeah.
You want to talk through it. Use the
Yeah.
examples and things like that. So you want to present it the right way
You
too.
want to present, that's the precise word. You want to present the material, not read the material. I had a guy tell me, I could do your job, Aaron. All you got to do is read PowerPoints. I'm like, well, why don't you start up a company and compete?
Yeah.
We'll see how many people want to go
Be
to
your
class.
own safety, evil safety.
When
dude.
you're just reading PowerPoint. It's
Yeah.
kind of torture.
Yeah.
No, like,
And that's where you look out there and everybody's yawning and they're like, okay, so change the slide. You already read it all, man.
my first OSHA 30 as a student was, I won't say the name of the institution, but the teacher could not teach. He could not present. So guess what he did? This is an OSHA 30. This is 4 8-hour days.
Uh-huh.
So there was like 7 of us in the class. So he would advance the slide, and he would go, okay, Jamie, you read it. So you would read the slide. And then he'd click the button, and then the next person would read it. So for 4 days, we went around
Just
in a
around the
circle.
room reading it.
Yeah, and guess what he did?
Just sat
He
there,
hit
hit
the
the
button.
button. And he's getting paid for that.
Yeah, and guess how much we got out of that class?
0.
It was terrible. Like, I knew, like, all right, when this guy next to me starts talking, I better start paying attention because I got to read the next slide. But there was no, like, oh, I'm learning. Because we would raise our hand and ask a question. He'd go, I don't know.
Oh, that's nice.
It was terrible. So we try not to do that here when we teach.
No,
we want to
no.
we want to present that information and not read it. But yeah, so I've learned, like, okay, even though I know the slides and can still give them that same information, those visual learners want to see it. So okay, I'll set up the laptop, I'll put it on for the sake of being a good teacher. But in all those classes, I've learned too that they say as we get older, we all become kinetic learners, hands-on learners.
Mm-hmm.
So what we try to do here, besides edutainment, entertaining education, is as much hands-on as we can.
Yeah.
I say, I don't care what class it is. If it's machine guarding, I need you to figure out a way to do a hands-on activity without cutting people's hands off. Like, don't be like, stick your hand in that machine guard and see if it's good enough to.
Does it work?
Yeah.
How do you do your pre-inspection on this machine to make sure your safety devices work? Well, I just stick my finger in there.
Yeah, let's walk around and look at some guards, and we'll look at a fixed guard versus an interlock guard. Let's look all the way around it and see if it adequately covers all the parts. We're out in the field; they're using their mind. I don't care if it's lockout, tag out, and all I can do is pass around a lock and then pass around a tag. Like, I want to get something in people's hands.
Show them what they're working with.
In ladder class, instead of just going through the PowerPoint on ladders, hey guys, we have ladders here. All right, guys, we're gonna set up a ladder. I can teach you the 4-to-1 angle, but no, and I am. But now you guys go do it. Take that ladder over there. Pretend you're changing that light bulb. Set it up. Now people are learning.
Yeah.
Because they're
using that.
Yeah, and no online can do that.
Right.
And on Zoom, you can make people do hands-on, but it's tough because you don't have the prop to give them.
Right.
It's not like everybody has a ladder with them.
Hey, I got to Zoom at 11 o'clock, but I got to bring all this material in.
Yeah. So, I think online training is superior, but in-person training. But got myself that time. But I definitely think online has its place.
Oh, yeah. I think there is definitely ways that you can. I think if you could do a blended, like if you can do
For sure.
a little bit of each, I mean, like your OSHA stuff, it'd be great to get in person and make sure they're really getting that stuff. Some of, if it's not OSHA regs, you can go in and do it online and something like that. But yeah, anytime you can get in front of somebody, I think is in my opinion, I've seen it both ways. But
Yeah, I think every company needs to have a blended, matrix. All right, we're going to do online for orientations.
yeah,
But we have to do in person for forklift operator certifications.
Correct.
CPR, hands-on stuff. I'm okay if they want to use online for their annual stuff. As long as it's accurate, specific, bloodborne
Right.
pathogens, hearing conservation, stuff like that.
yep,
But when it comes to like real training, like physical, like they need to be competent in a skill, you got to teach them how to do it, demonstrate how to do it, have them do it, evaluate them, correct them, have them do it again. They're not walking out of that room until they got it down.
Yeah.
You're not doing that online.
no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I think a lot of it, how you decide which one you want to use, depends on what kind of culture you have too. I mean, if you've
Okay.
got a great safety culture and you get a lot of engagement from your employees and stuff, you could probably do online,
Right.
more of it, as long as it continues that
Yeah.
way. But if you have one that's struggling and you see a lot of different things, and you're like, maybe the online isn't. Maybe we ought to look at this training and do it more in person,
Right.
just to make sure we can emphasize, hey, this is an issue. We got to improve on
For
this
sure.
or that. So.
Especially if it's like, I got to do a lot of post-incident training.
Mm-hmm.
They call it lesson learned training.
Yeah.
You
Lesson
can't do
learned.
that. You can't do that online.
Nope.
Like I have a company call me, Aaron. We just had a chemical spill, and it's because the guy was cleaning and the hose wrapped around a valve, and instead of going and just taking off with his hand, he yanked on it and he busted the valve, and now a chemical spill. Blah 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 blah. I need you to come teach lessons learned on that. All right, give me all the facts, send me all the pictures. I'll put together something. Now I gotta go train everybody on the incident. You're not really doing that online.
Nope.
So also I had this company start out online, and then the boss walked in. It was more Zoom,
Yeah.
where they actually did group up everybody, but they had several different divisions. So he walked in and he's looking on the screen at the other locations, how they're not even looking at the screen. They're on mute talking to each other. He's looking at the people in his room that are all head down or turned, and he goes, because he's paying everybody to be there.
Right.
When you pay 40 people an hour, there's cost to training.
There is a huge cost to it.
And that owner, I had respect for him after that. He's like, we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this anymore. We're not getting anything out of it. He's like, no diss to you, Aaron. It's just the platform we chose.
Right.
Everybody's tuned out. I don't care if you're dancing on the other side of the screen with your cane and your hat and you're trying to do the best show. You're if you pretend if you were the best presenter in the world, it wouldn't matter because everybody's just like.
Yeah. You're not getting any engagement, nothing with that.
And so
You're not getting the work.
he was like, from now on, we are not doing this online.
No.
I could also tell someone's age by what platform they use for.
That's true. That's true.
I had this guy, he was like, let's Skype. And I'm like, you're old, aren't you?
That's so 6 years ago, man.
And so I was like, yeah, let's do a Microsoft Teams. And I'm like, okay.
All right, we're getting there. We're getting
I
there.
think I got that platform somewhere. I think I used that a couple times. I can figure that out. Zoom sure did take over the market.
Oh,
right?
man,
Stock in Zoom.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Everybody knows what that is. Too much anymore.
Yeah. So some of the issues is people that want to stay there too, and getting them back to online when you really need it.
It's very convenient. It's almost too convenient sometimes, I think.
Yes. When you weren't super into it and you have this compliance path, but it's not effective, some people aren't super into safety will go, hey, we're just staying with this.
Yeah.
It's one company, they got crews, just 5-man crew in a truck. They got 10 of them, and each one's on a different job site in a different state.
Yeah.
All right, you want to stay on Zoom? Fine. Because getting you all back to Iowa or South Dakota to do this in-person training, you know, we're going to – the odds of all of those crews being back at headquarters at the same time, and when they're there, they're on break, they're seeing their family. Yeah. Oh, by the way, come on in for a 4-hour class. You know, they're like, no way. Right. You know, so I get it when it's
right.
That totally makes sense for that crew to always do it that way, unless it's a certification.
Right. If you got road crews and stuff, that's probably the only way to do it, unless you're going to yourself go out to their job site, wherever they are, and do it over there.
Because then I would have to go to 5 different states, do the same class for 5 guys. It's I'm not doing
time. That's crazy.
So, I mean, on that case, it's great. And when I do their training, they're in their truck on their phone.
Driving down the road?
Well, no? Some people do. I've been in Zoom classes where they're driving. Whoa. But I know they're tuned out, and I almost want to be tuned out.
Right.
Don't be
Pay attention to where you're driving.
Right? But I say, man, you got to be pulled over. We got to have rules here. Mic's off, unless you have a question. Camera's on, and no driving no driving while Zooming. It's not a federal offense yet, but maybe one law should be put on the books.
Yeah.
But, man, that has its place there because they can get it done, and it's super convenient and doable because they probably just wouldn't do it if they didn't have that tech.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't do the annual training. Yeah.
And that's another thing with in-person. You can accountability. I mean, the online stuff, it records it for record-keeping, things like that. But in-person, you can kind of, who took it or not.
For sure. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, you got a roster, right? People signed in. You got their actual signature. On Zoom, what I do is I have everybody type their name in the chat box.
Okay.
And then I copy all that, and then I make a roster with the date, time, company, instructor name, all their student names, topic. I make sure I have all the 6 things that OSHA requires to have legit recording of a safety training. But it's all, like, typed.
Right.
So it's not as good as a signature verification. Signatures trump typing as far as validating a human was there.
Yep.
But on yours, though, your online, can you, if OSHA, this is what I ask all my clients that use online training. I said, if OSHA came right now and saw that guy over there on that ladder and say you do have a ladder class in your online training, can you go to that employee, go to ladder training, and print out something and hand it to OSHA if they say, prove to me that guy's trained?
Yeah, it'll give us the date and the time that they did the training.
The topic, if it was ladder specific.
Yeah, it'll do all the different training that they've done, the times, the dates, all of that stuff.
Some of them haven't been good. It's like, I have to print off everybody.
Yeah.
Or I can't choose that specific class. Everything comes out. Yeah. Well, now we're kind of violating the golden rule of OSHA requests. Yeah. Don't give them more than they ask.
Right.
If they're like, did you do ladder training? And your only print-off capability of a training record shows everything they did. Then OSHA guy's going to go, since I have this, looky here.
See, they're delinquent in this one.
They didn't. I also saw them doing this. There's no training on this. This is their total training record.
Yeah.
It says here they haven't had bloodborne pathogens since 2019. That's an annual requirement, Yeah.
It just opens another can of worms.
Yeah.
So it's good because if there is an incident, you want to go back, well, did he do the training?
Right.
And that's another thing. Yeah, he did the training, but he should have learned not to do that in that training. Yeah. So then you think, oh, man, is this training even doing what it should be doing?
Yeah, but as the guy who's doing this almost all day, every day, I am constantly reminded, it helps me.
Yeah.
When I train someone, next day I see him doing it completely wrong. I tell myself the phrase all the time, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Right.
I could repeat, wear your seatbelt, till I'm blue in the face. I could test him on it. Yep. I could make him do hands-on where they do it. And I evaluate him. Yep, he put a seatbelt on. Next day I drive by his site, no seatbelt. And I'm like, come on, people. But I know that's not on me. That's behavioral at that point.
Yep. You can coach them for a while, but after that, it's just a behavior thing.
Right. Well, man, I super appreciate you coming on the show. Believe it or not, it's been an hour already.
Really?
Yeah,
Man,
only
flies.
To us does it fly. To the listening audience,
they're like, oh, thank goodness.
Dude, man. I had somebody say that in class. I wasn't teaching, but this teacher was teaching for like an hour, hour and a half, and he goes, "Oh, my time's up, man! Time flies." And one of the audience members goes, "To you."
I did that too already. I've had more people come up and say, "Hey, your training, just keep it a little bit shorter." I was like, "What? It was only like 15 minutes. It was 35."
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, and you had a lot of awesome insights on online versus in-person training. Hope you out there learn these and something new and can, go, and if you're the person who chooses what format to train, you could use these tools to pick online versus in person and make sure your employees are getting the best training they can get. It will reduce incidences for sure.
That's the goal.
When people know what not to do and what to do. So for Mr. Jamie Elgersma, I'm Aaron Icino. Together today we are the
Evil Safety Dudes.
All right, till next time, everybody, be safe.